Hello everyone and welcome to this week's lecture on ISM 416 Natural Language Processing. In this week's lecture, we are going to be looking at a very interesting topic, which is web scraping and article summarization. At the end of this lecture, you should be able to scrape any article online, from any website and summarize them using just few lines of code. Sounds interesting, right? So let's get started to see what web scraping is all about. So what is web scraping? Well, in simple terms, web scraping is just a process of gathering information or a process of extracting information from the web. So let's take, for instance, you want to buy a new iPhone, right? And you want to compare the prices for the iPhone from different websites. Now you have a couple of options. You have like Jumia, you have Gigi, for instance, you have Konga, etc. Now, for you to go through those websites one after the other to see the price of that particular item you're interested in could be time consuming and stressful, right? So what we simply do in web scraping is we write a simple line of code, usually short, to extract that particular item we're interested in, then convert those items from different websites into structured form like CSV or Excel file. Then we can now compare the price, right? Which is super easy for us and very interesting to work on as well. So now in natural language processing, web scraping as related to natural language processing is also very, very important because this period we are usually bombarded with lots of information, usually endless, and for us to go through those information and make some business driven decisions could be challenging and time consuming. So that's why we use web scraping to extract those information and compress them into digestible size, which is very cool for us. So we can just consume the short version of it, get all the information we need, and move ahead with our lives. So for us to achieve web scraping here and article summarizations, we make use of some libraries, some Python libraries. So let's take a look at some of the libraries we are going to be using for this lecture. So we are going to be making use of three major libraries. The first one is the request library. So what we use the request library to do is we use it to download the page we're interested in. For instance, we're interested in a particular page or a particular article in UNN or PAU, for instance, right? So we search for that page on our browser and copy the URL for the page. We use the request library to extract the full HTML page and download it into our Jupyter notebook, which is very cool, and you are going to see how it works. Now when you download the page, the HTML page, they are usually rough. So they are referred to as tag soup, which is non-pretty HTML tags. They are not fine at all. So what we simply do is we use another library called the beautiful soup. So just as the name implies, we use the library to make the tag soup, which we extracted using the request. We make it beautiful. So we use the beautiful soup library to pull the data from our request library. Then finally we use the Jensen library, which is a top-notch natural language processing library, usually used for topic modeling for humans. We use it to compress our article into digestible form, right? We use it to summarize our article. So now some of these libraries are not pre-installed in Anaconda, so I need to show you how to install them before you can start doing your extraction. So for instance, the request library is already pre-installed in your Anaconda, so you don't have to reinstall it again. But if you have, for instance, if you try importing your request library in your Jupyter Notebook and you encounter error like missing module or no request module on your Anaconda, you can simply install the request module by using the command line if you are using Windows, or your terminal if you are on Mac. So command line. So why is this taking so much time? Okay, yep. Right, so if you want to install some of these libraries, we can simply use a pip install. Okay, so pip, which is pip install. If you want to install the request library, request with an S, then you press enter. Since I've already installed the library, of course, you know the library is pre-installed on my Anaconda, so I don't need to reinstall it again, so I just remove it. But if you have an error, you can just click enter to install it. Now the second library is Beautiful Soup library. Okay, so to install it, you simply use a pip install BS4. Okay, this is short for Beautiful Soup 4, which is the latest version of it. Okay, so when you're done with this, you click enter, or if you're in Mac, you click return, okay, to execute. Then finally, the Jensen library, simply use Jensen like this. Sorry, pip install Jensen, then click enter to install it. Right, so this will take a while to install, but once you're done, you're good to go. So let's close this and I'll open up my Jupyter Notebook, so we'll start doing extraction. Okay, so already prior to this moment, you know how to navigate your working directory and launch your Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so I've done that. I've also renamed my notebook web scraping and article summarization, so you can as well do that for yours. So let's take a look at the articles we are going to be extracting and summarizing for this lecture. Okay, so I hope we are going to have enough time, okay, so we can extract and summarize two articles. The first one is this one. I'm going to put the link to this article on the description box for this YouTube video. Okay, so you can just navigate to it and open up the article on your browser. So this article, University of Texas Austin promises free tuition for low-income students in 2020, that's this year. So if you go through this, you are going to see that the article is a bit long, so you have to maybe take out some time, some precious time, and go through this and try to see what they are talking about. Okay, then the second article we are going to be looking at is from our own website, which is the Pan Atlantic University website. We checked, you navigate to news. Okay, we see that the new professors are appointed in PAU, so you look at you try to go through the article. This is a bit short, but we can still make use of this, right? So having seen all this, let's get started. We're going to start with the first one, then we'll proceed to the second one. Hopefully we'll have time to finish. All right, now as usual, you already know the first step we take, which is what? Exactly, importing your libraries. And like I said previously, we are going to be making use of three major libraries in this lecture. The first one is the request library, which is used to download the HTML page for our article. Secondly, we use the beautiful soup library, okay, which is used to convert the tag soup into something beautiful, okay. Use it to extract useful information from our downloaded HTML tags, right? Then finally, we use the Gensim library to summarize our article into digestible form. Then sometimes maybe in my next video, okay, some other time, I'll show you how to convert some of these articles, these summarized articles, into different text format, like the Microsoft Word document, into PDFs, or you can also send them to your email. That's via your Jupyter Notebook. You extract the data, you summarize them, then from your Jupyter Notebook you send it directly to your email. And you can also automate this process. Sorry about this. You can also automate this process so you don't have to code everything again from scratch on a daily basis. You can automate it. Maybe anytime you just log into your system, you run the script and you extract the data and send it directly to your email, which is very awesome to do. So let's get started. So the first step is we import our libraries. Import important libraries. Like I told you, this is going to be interesting. We are going to be writing less than 20 lines of code, so you can decide to count it, okay? So the first library we are going to import is the request library. Import requests. Second one is, now I told you how to install these libraries, right? And while installing your beautiful soup library, you did a pip install bs4, which is short for beautiful soup 4. Okay, now in this library we have other functions. The one we're interested in here in the library is the beautiful soup library. Okay, so we are simply going to say from bs4 import beautiful soup. Please, you have to take note of the capitalization. This is case sensitive, okay? So you can see the beautiful here starts with a capital B, and the soup, the S in the soup is also capital, right? So you take note of this. Then finally we import the summarize function from the Gensim. So we simply say from Gensim dot summarization import summarize. Okay, so this should be enough for us. So let's run it, and I'm going to pause this video in case it takes so much time. Then I'll show you when it's done. Alright, cool. We've imported the library. Now the next step we're going to take is to download the page for our article. So I'm simply going to write a comment, which is retrieve. Okay, retrieve. So what are we retrieving? We want to retrieve the HTML text, right? Okay, so we simply say retrieve page text. So to do that, we have to declare a variable called URL, right? So this URL is going to take the string of our link to this article. So we simply put a single or double quote, it doesn't matter. You go to the article here, you copy the link. I'm going to do a Ctrl C, go back to this place and paste. Ctrl V, cool. Then you can execute. Alright, good. Now the next thing we are going to do is to make use of our request library to extract the HTML tags from this page here. So we simply say request dot, we make use of the get function in request get. Now, like I told you previously, if you don't know how to use a function in your Jupyter notebook, you can get help by writing the function and putting a question mark in front of it. Okay, so then you run it. If you look at this, you see that this takes in your URL and other parameters which might not be necessary. So you can go through this and see how this function works. Okay, cool. So we are going to pass in our URL here, URL variable. Okay, that's the one we declared here. Simply pass it inside URL, then we can run it. So let's see what we'll get. Hope it doesn't take so much time. Okay, let's pause this. I'll show you. All right, so we have that this is we just have a response, right? So for us to get the information from this page, we need to add one more function here, so which is the text function. So we say dot text. Okay, we don't need response, we just need text. Sorry, text, not text, like this. Then we run it again. Okay, let's pause this. All right, so you can see writing this one line of code simply extracted the HTML information from our page here, but we can't really make use of this, right? This is rough, so we can simply assign this to a variable. We can call it page, okay, because this is the page for our article. So call this page, say page equals this. We can just execute this again. Then secondly, okay, now the result has been assigned to this variable page. So what we do next is we convert that roughly looking result and return text into something beautiful, so that we can extract our HTML tags from them. Okay, so we'll write a comment which is turn page, which is this page, into a beautiful soup object. Beautiful soup object, so as to extract the HTML tags. Okay, cool. So how do we do that? To do that, we simply pass our beautiful soup function into this. So we copy this and paste into our beautiful soup option. So I'm going to copy this, Ctrl C, come here and paste it, Ctrl V. Then I will pass this page inside our function, which is beautiful soup. So I'll run this and let's see what we get. So let's pause this so we don't have this taking so much. Okay, all right, cool. So you can see our roughly looking page was now converted into something manageable, something beautiful. So you can see everything is well structured. Okay, all right, so cool. We can assign this to a variable now. We can call it soup. So you can, this is not compulsory, like this is a variable, so you can call yours anything. Feel free to call yours anything. So let's go back to our article on the study. Okay, so in this article we want to extract some important information from here, like the title, which is the headline, okay, which is this, and the body of the article, which are all this. So to do that, we need to know the HTML tag that contains all these items that we're interested in. So to do that, if you are using, for me, I'm using Firefox. If you are using Chrome, it's simply the same thing. So you right click on the page. Okay, what's happening? So you right click. If you are on Chrome, you are simply going to see something like inspect on or inspect page on this window here. So for me, I'm using Firefox, so I simply click on inspect element. They are the same thing. Okay, so when you do that, a page is going to show you all these things. That's the HTML tags for this page. You are going to see them. So this window here can either appear here or on the right or on the left. It doesn't matter, it's the same thing. Okay, so feel free to use the same technique I'm using here for yours. Oh, this is taking so much time. So this is the headline we're interested in and the body. So let's see. Let the HTML page load and we'll see. So I'm going to pause this first. Taking time. Okay, now once you see something like this, you click on this place here. Can you see this place? So once you click on it, you simply go to your page. Make sure you've clicked on this. Now if you navigate to this place, you are going to see, hover over the this title here. Sorry, click on this. If you hover over this, you can see that this is under H1, okay, header 1. So you can see it from here, right? So you see it. We are going to make use of this information here, right? So for us to extract the headline here, we need to look for it under header 1 here. So let's go back to our Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so in our Jupyter Notebook, we are going to write a comment, which is to get the headline. Okay, to get the headline of the page. So give me a moment. Okay, so I'm going to write a comment here, which is get headline. Sorry, I don't know why this is coming slow. So give me a moment. Okay, now we want to get the headline from our beautiful soup object now. Okay, our soup object. So we want to find the first occurrence of H1 in this object here. So what we simply do is we use the find function in soup. So you can also try to see how to use that function by putting a question mark after it and running the cell. So we'll simply say soup. Okay, soup dot find. Okay, oh, what's happening? Soup, sorry. Okay, soup dot find. So we want to find h1. Okay, h1. So let's run this and see what we get. So we can see that we have the headline, right? But this is enclosed under h1. So we are not interested in the tags, we just want the text. So we simply say that we want to get just the text using the get text function. So get underscore text. Then we'll run. Sorry, what happened? Dot get test. Sorry, dot get test. Alright, so we have it. Then we assign this to a variable headline. So, and we run it. So let's go back to our page again. Still make sure that this is clicked. So we go to the body of our article. If we hover over this, let's take taking a while. Okay, so if you hover over this, you can see that this is enclosed on the P tag, so you can see them here too. So you can see this is P, this is also P. P is paragraph for those that are not familiar with HTML. Okay, this is enclosed under P. Everything here on the body of the article is enclosed under P. So if we want to extract them, we have to make reference to our paragraph. So we'll go back to our notebook. Then the next thing we'll do is we're going to get all the text from our P tag. Okay, so I'm going to write a comment, get text from our P tag. Okay, tags. Now, how do we do that? For this case, we simply use the find function to get the h1, which is the first header. So for us to get the P tags, we have multiple of them. We simply use the find all, just like we used when we looked at regular expressions. So we simply say soup dot find all. So where are we finding all? We want to find all P. Okay, so let's run this and see. All right. What happened? Non-type, not callable. What? Oh, find all, not find all. Find underscore all. Sorry about that mistake. So let's see. All right. So we see we've extracted all the sentence in the paragraph. So we simply save this as, we can save it as P tags. Okay, P underscore tags. Then we run this. So the next thing we do is we have to get all the text from the individual P tags, and of course there is just one major way of doing that. We have to write a for loop, right, which you already know how to do. So I'm going to write a brief comment, which is get the text from each of the P tags. So, but this is not just enough. Getting the text from this P is not enough. We have to strip the surrounding white space. Of course, you know what strip is. We simply use strip function to remove any white space around a text. So each of the p tags and strip surrounding white space. So how do we do that? So we are going to list, okay, just like we did previously in our other lectures. We want to list all the tags, but we don't just want to list the tags. We want to get the text from the tag. Okay, so get underscore text from the tag, right? But we don't just want to get the text also, we want to remove the surrounding white space. So dot strip, we use the dot strip function. Okay, so for this tag in our variable, so we are iterating through this variable and getting all the individual tags. We strip them and get the text. So that's what we're just trying to do with this for loop tags. Okay, so once you're done with this, for tag in, please don't forget the, now let me go through this again. So we want to list the result. Okay, that's why we are using the square bracket here, which is short for list. We want to list all the tags here, but not just the tag. We want to get the text from the tag and remove the surrounding white space using the strip function for all the tags in our p tags. So this is quite explanatory. Okay, so we'll run this. Error, no tags, name tags for tags. Okay, this is s. All right, so you can see we are able to extract those data because all these texts are data, right? So we are going to save them as what do we save them as? Okay, we can say p underscore tags underscore text. So we can rerun this again. All right, cool. Now what do we do next? The next thing we are going to do is to clean our data, because like you see, you saw previously, our data is kind of rough. So p tags underscore text. So you can see it's kind of rough with some of the things we don't need, like the unnecessary new lines or the name of the author and many others. We're just interested in the body of the article, right? So we have to clean them. So I'm going to write a new comment, cleaning our text. Okay, so how do we do that? What do we start? We want to filter all the sentence that contains new line. Okay, we want to filter all the sentence that contains the new line, all these ones, and all the ones that doesn't contain period, right? So how do we do that? We also achieve that using the for loop as well. So I'm going to say list for us sentence. Okay, so now for sentence in the variable for this, which is p tag. So I'm going to copy this. So I'm going to copy this and paste here. So we want to list all the sentence for the sentence in this p tag that is not. Okay, so for us to say that is not, we simply say if not. How do we identify new line? We simply use the \n for it, okay, in sentence. So let me go through this again. We want to extract, of course, if you look at this, some non-useful informations are here. So you can see we have the name of the author from many other things. We're not interested in this. So for us to filter this out, we want to select all the sentence that contains new line. Okay, for instance, if a normal structured sentence, for you to enter the next paragraph, you should have a new line. So that's why you're having this. So that contains new line, okay, and also contains a period. Okay, so let's do this, run this and see what we get. Alright, so you can see that this is a bit better than this. So we're able to filter all the sentence in p tags that doesn't contain a new line. Okay, so we can assign this to a variable sentence underscore list. So run this again. So the next thing we want to do is we want to eliminate all this stuff here. Okay, some of all this stuff. So how to do that is we are going to write another for loop to select only the sentence that has a period as a full stop. So to do that, we simply write similar for loop like this. So sentence for sentence in this new variable now. So I'm going to copy this. And paste, Ctrl V. If there is a period in the sentence, simple. So we want to list all the sentence that contains a period. That's why we're writing this. So we'll simply say list for us sentence for the sentence in this one, this sentence underscore list, if period, that's full stop, is in the sentence. So when we do this, you can see some of the unnecessary stuff have been eliminated, like the name of the person and other things we don't need. So this is cool. We can assign this now to sentence, okay, our new sentence underscore list. Okay, cool. Alright, so we execute this. Alright, now we are getting somewhere. The next thing we do is we, of course, the result of this is a list, right? But we can't really work much with a list, so we have to combine the list item into a string. And to do that, we use a join function. So I'm going to write a brief comment: combine list items into strings, string. So how do I do that? I simply create an empty string, then I say join this string with, using the join function, with this sentence underscore list. Cool. So let's run this and see what we have. you can see we have a sentence. This has been converted to string. Let's view this one so you understand better. So let's see. You can see that this one initially was enclosed in square bracket, which means this is in list format. Now it's in string format, which is cool. We can work with this. So we assign this to a variable. We'll call it article. All right, we are almost coming close to the end now. Now, what do we do next? The next thing we do is we summarize our article. So, summarization. So, I want to summarize this article. So, I'm going to view this again, article. So you can see how big the article is. Let's see how to summarize it. Now, to summarize this article, we make use of the summarize function in JSON that we just imported. Okay, so I'm going to declare a variable. Okay, let's just say summarize, which is the function that we imported in JSON. Okay, so this is function here. So we want to summarize. Now, if you don't know how to use this function, just put a question mark in front of it and you'll get help on how to use it. If you scroll up, so let's get this in. Let me check my time to see how much time we've got. Alright, so the summarize function, just to reiterate, takes in two major parameters. The first one is your article you want to summarize, and the second one is the ratio you want to summarize it. Okay, that's the length of the original text you want to retain. So we set this to 30% and we passed in our article. So when we executed this, we assigned it to a variable summary. So now we can print our result. Okay, so we say print. Let's see how much time we have. Okay, so say print. Give me a moment. Hope I have so much time to go through the rest of this class. Okay, so print results. Alright, now the first thing we want to print is the length of the original text. So I've simply said print length of the original article. So I'm going to do a print format. Okay, dot format. How do I get the length of the original article? Very simple. I use the length function, okay, and pass the article inside article. So I'm going to copy this. Okay, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Then I will change this summarized length of the summarized article. So put summary here, summary. Okay, then finally, okay, I can also print the headline. Print headline, right? So can put a new line here so I have more space. So I want to print the headline. Okay, so a headline dot format headline. Okay, so I can also put a new line here so I have space for the next thing I want to print. Then finally I print my summary. Print article summary. Article summary. Okay. So I can put a new line here. So I have the summary on the next page. Dot format. Summary. Alright, so let's execute this. Cool. Now here you can see the length of the original article is 4,594 lines. Okay, that's full line. Then we have the summarized one is 1,859, which is quite compressed. And we have the headline, okay, and the summarized article here. So if you go through this and the original one, you find that this is kind of a compressed information. So you get all the details here, okay, the details you actually need, not the one that you don't need. So going through this is just enough for you to understand what the full article is trying to say. All right, so let me look at this. And okay, so let's quickly see how to extract the second article, okay, from our PAU website. So let me pause this. Wow. All right. Okay, we can just repeat the same process. Okay, so we are going to be doing copy and paste, so we don't have to spend so much time. I'm going to declare the first step like we did in the other one, which is to declare a variable that will hold our URL for the page, which is this, right? Then I'll just go to the beginning and copy the next line of code, which is to retrieve the text. So I'm just going to copy this. Of course, you know, we have to download the page using the request, isn't it? So we'll run this, Ctrl V, and we'll print the page to see, page. Alright. So we declare the variable, which is the first step to hold our URL. Secondly, we download the page using the request library, okay, so which you can see here. So the next step, you can already guess, is to pass this into our beautiful soup. So soup equal to beautiful soup of our page. So we can just print page soup now. Okay, these things are quite straightforward. Okay, you can see it's now in structured form. You can see welcome to Pan Atlantic University and blah blah blah. So let's go back to our article, then we inspect. Okay, so I'm going to pause this so we don't have to wait for. Okay, you can see that just like our previous article, this new article is also enclosed on the p tag. So we are just going to extract the body of the article, so we'll find all p. So we can repeat the same process we did on the previous work by just copy and pasting. So let's copy and paste. So web scraping is very easy to do. So it's just the same ideology with the rest. Okay, so just, where is it? So I'm going to, let me remove all this so it's easy for me to copy and paste. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is I want to find all the p tags. Okay, so I copy this, Ctrl C, go here and paste, Ctrl V. I can print it so we'll see tags. So you can see he extracted all the p tags for us. So what next? The next thing we need to do is to get all the text from the tags. Okay, so we can copy this again, Ctrl C. And paste, Ctrl V. So cool, you can see this is adding up together. So all these are the same thing, so you don't need to change so much. So what next? The next thing is we clean our data. So let's see if we have unnecessary stuff here. So you can see we don't have so much data cleaning to do on this page. Okay, so we can just leave this first one because we don't have other things appearing like the name of the author and others. But if you look at this, you have some strings here. Okay, unnecessary strings, so we can remove them by extracting just the items that have period at the end of it. So we can run this, Ctrl C, so paste, Ctrl V. So now we are going to change this to p tags underscore text, Ctrl C, come here and change, then we'll run it. Okay, cool, you can see we don't have it anymore. Now the next thing we do is we combine our article, combine our list into a string, okay, and call it article. So we're almost done. We just Ctrl V and we run it. This is so easy to do. So you can see we have it as a string. Cool. Now what do? We summarize. So we just come here and copy. So you can see using this same process you can extract as many articles as you want online and summarize them. You just need to make a few or no change at all. Okay, so summarize them, then finally we print. Okay, copy, Ctrl V, so we print. Alright, so you can see the length of our original article is 3,124 lines, and the summarized one is this. The headline of, we don't have to put headline for this because we just extracted this, so I'm going to comment this out. Where is this? Headline, look at it. Comment this and we run the code. So you can see the summary of the article, Dr. Enasi Okoyendue. So you can go through this and see that you get the same information as the original article. So instead of having to go through the bunch of sentence or long line of text, right? You can just summarize them and consume them and move ahead with your life. So this brings us to the end of this week's lecture. Hope you found it interesting. You enjoyed it as much as I did, right? So you can try to extract as many articles as you can online, and then summarize them, right? So and get meaningful information, consume them, and try a bunch of other stuff. Try increasing the ratio and other things, right? So let's see, I have other time. All right, so cool. Now let's go back to our slide and see what we did so far. Okay. All right, so we understood what web scraping is. That is simply a process of extracting information from the web. Okay, we looked at some of the libraries we are going to be using to extract those information. We looked at the request library, the Beautiful Soup library, the GenSim library, which is used for summarization. Then we proceeded to seeing how you can install those libraries using pip install on your command line for Windows or terminal for Mac. Okay, we proceeded to step 1, which is importing your libraries. We imported the 3 libraries we needed. Okay, so then we created some variable URL which housed the URL address for our page. Then we downloaded the page using the request library. Okay, then we turned the page into a Beautiful Soup object using the Beautiful Soup function, right? Then you can see we inspected the page. We identified that the header is under H1, right? So we went back to our notebook and used the find function to get all the text from header 1, and we have this, right? Then we extracted the text information and stripped all the white space from our text, and we did some cleaning, right? We converted our list into a string object using the join function. Then we printed our result and summarized. So hope you enjoyed this week's lecture. Feel free to ask me any question, and if you've not already subscribed to the channel, please do so, as I'll be dropping more videos per week. Okay, let's say 2 or 1 video every week. So you subscribe to this channel, click on the bell icon to get notifications anytime I drop new video. And until we see again next week, enjoy natural language processing. Bye.